joining us online from wherever you might be. And if you all could see what I'm seeing, you would be very pleased. There are, the men's side is full of bright-eyed, resolved young monks, young in dharma years, some young in actual years. And the women's side, for some reason, is looking a little sparse tonight, but I think maybe by the time we finish, there might be a few more. So, actually, we value quality, not quantity. So if you listen well, there's multiply. So, we have a translation into Chinese. Who would like to hear Chinese? Please raise your hand, and we can give you an earphone. 想听中文的人举手，我们翻译耳机给你听。The Saturday night lecture is done in English, so we're providing Chinese translation. And the Vietnamese translation is in the balcony if anybody would like to hear Vietnamese. So we have 3 languages happening, which is a great wish realized. We're webcasting around the world for anybody who would like to join us online. And we also archive. We put it on YouTube and streaming on YouTube. We also put a podcast of the audio on iTunes. So this is all new ways to bring the Dharma to people who otherwise would not be able to hear. Please turn to page 4 and 5. 第4、第5页. Page 4 and 5 in your text. Okay, you ready? Let's start. We're down at the bottom. 20金刚藏菩萨. There we go. Ready? 20金刚藏菩萨告解脱曰菩萨言：佛子菩萨摩诃萨，第三地善清净已，欲入第4言会地，当修行施法明门。何等为实？所谓观察众生界，观察法界，观察世界，观察虚空界，观察世界，观察欲界，观察色界，观察无色界，观察广心信结界，观察大心信结界。All right, over to the right. At that time, let's read it all together. Let's read it in unison together. Here we go. At that time, Vajra Treasury Bodhisattva said to Moon of Liberation Bodhisattva, disciples of the Buddha, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, who has already mastered the 3rd ground and who wishes to learn the 4th, the ground of blazing wisdom, should cultivate 10 methods for understanding the Dharma. What are the 10? They are contemplating realms of living beings, contemplating realms of Dharma, contemplating realms of worlds, contemplating realms of empty space, contemplating realms of consciousness, contemplating realms of desire, contemplating realms of form, contemplating realms of formlessness, contemplating realms of extensive minds, faith, and understanding, and contemplating realms of big minds, faith, and understanding. Okay, here we go. So this is the 4th ground of the 10 grounds, and we've just begun. Our booklet is very thin because this is all we've retranslated. And we are adding to our book as we go. We have actually done more, but we haven't printed it up yet. And when we finish the rest of it, we'll add it to our book and it will grow. We've already done 3 of them like this, and we're now on number 4. The 4th ground has just begun, and the Bodhisattva is about to become vigorous, because the grounds accompany the paramitas. And originally there are 6 paramitas, the 6 perfections, the 6 boromi. And the first 6 are the ones we know usually, then they add 4 more because this is the Avatamsaka. So we have giving and moral precepts, patience, and now vigor. Following this will be, number 5 is, in the perfections, di wu boromi是什么? Di wu du. Dhyana. Following that will be, don't answer. 第6是哪个？是什么？般若，对了，般若。Okay, the next one is, the number 5 is dhyana samadhi, concentration. The one after that is prajna. All right. So then there are 4 more after that to get the 10 perfections. So perfections come in 6 and in 10. And I learned only after I began talking to monks from the Theravada tradition to learn that there are barami in the Pali tradition, but it's not the same. Barami is a different word, and it means wholesome qualities, kind of like shangun, similar to in the Chinese idea of shangun. If someone has a lot of barami, it's kind of like tada gongda, his merits, his virtues, a person's kind of wholesome qualities. So. It's a Thai thing. Mm. So barami is a Thai word. I didn't know that. Okay. Ah. I see. So it became a Buddhist idea, or the Buddhists use it. Okay, correction. Barami is a Thai word, and it refers to that idea. It's a very Buddhist-sounding idea, and so the Buddhists brought it in. That happens a lot in the Chinese world, that there are ideas that are originally part of Chinese culture that often grew up with the Taoist world, but they were so similar, they overlapped, and so the Buddhists and the Taoists share them. So it's the same in the Thai world, the Thai Buddhist world. So what is going on? We're at the very start, and at the start there are preliminaries. There are basic things you have to do to get the sutra rolling. And what has just happened in the first, the first couple pages of our text is they request dharma. They say the 3rd ground was really wonderful, now it's time for the 4th ground. And Vajra Treasury Bodhisattva, who's the speaker, is asked once again to go ahead and lecture on it. And Moon of Liberation, Jie has mentioned here. His name came up because he's kind of the speaker who's doing the requesting on behalf of everybody there. So Vajra Treasury Bodhisattva says, okay, I will. I'm ready to speak. What does he say? At that time, Vajra Treasury Bodhisattva said to Moon of Liberation Bodhisattva, disciples of the Buddha, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, who has already mastered the 3rd ground and who wishes to learn the 4th, the ground of blazing wisdom, should cultivate 10 methods for understanding the Dharma. What are the 10? Now, why is it called blazing wisdom? Yen, hui, di. And that's it. That's the translation. Yen, if you look at the 3rd line, er shi. The 2nd line is what? Fo zi. The 3rd line, yen, hui, those characters. If you look at yen, there's a fire radical there. There's the word for fire. That's the radical on the left. Yen is like that. That's a sound character. It just means blazing, like fire. Hui. Why? What does wisdom have to do with fire? Pretty much everybody can. If you look at the picture of Amitabha on the back wall, notice his aura. Can you see? It's the tall picture. In the world of photography, that's called a portrait mode. Look at the aura around him. Those of you online can't see it, but there's blazing things shining off him. The Buddhas on the altar here, there's our Amitabha. The standing Amitabha doesn't have flames, but the seated Buddhas have this surround, this light halo, sometimes called an aura, right? Have you wondered what that is? Is that just art? Why do you put that around the Buddha image? My best answer is, I think, I don't see it myself, but I think that's really there. When it's a Buddha or a Bodhisattva, I think when you have removed the covers from your nature, the things that cover your nature over, which would be called what? Wuming, no light, ignorance, wuming, or attachments, afflictions, emotions, too many ideas, doubts, arrogance, low self-esteem, all of the fanna, all the things that cover your nature. When you remove those through cultivation, it shines. Your nature shines. They say it blazes like 1,000 suns. And I think what we're looking at is, at some point, maybe the artist had his wisdom open and saw the actual of the aura. And I think it's not static. I think it's kind of like, when did you see the picture of the sun last? Called the corona of the sun. Have you seen a telescope of the sun with the filters on it so you can look at it? The light is going like that. The sun is this mass of gas and fire. I think that when someone is actually awake, you shine like that. I don't know, I don't see it, but that's my feeling. That's probably the way it is. So blazing wisdom means that the bodhisattva who finishes, who cultivates to perfection this fifth ground, probably is starting to shine like that. What do we see in the world? We see people who impress us. It might have been a teacher in your life, your high school teacher. Might be someone in your family, perhaps, someone you know. They impress you, and what do we say? We say charisma. That person has a lot of charisma. We say that person has character or something. Possibly we're seeing more light from that person. Sometimes when you see someone and you react negatively to them, maybe we're seeing deep covering, no light. Someone who's got an evil intent, a bad person, sometimes we recognize that there's something deeply covered about them. What is that? I think it's all variations of our ordinary vision and the amount of covering or uncovering that happens in a person. Some people can really see. I know there are some doctors who are, through their compassion, through their own cultivation, they can actually see the sick person's aura. In fact, in the Huangdi, Neijing Hsuan, they talk about doctors who cure by sight, as well as, by this. There are some doctors who cure by sound. They hear your voice and they know what your health is. Others can smell where the illness is. So these six senses are very flexible. We don't really appreciate how those senses work. So yen hui, blazing wisdom, shining wisdom, brilliant wisdom, sparkling. Yen is kind of like ho yen. Ho yen de yen. It's like flaming wisdom. So wisdom and light are related. I remember going out with Master Xuanhua, going out with our teacher on Dharma tours. A lot of these teachings happened in Malaysia for some reason. Shifu and Malaysia had a very strong connection. we would follow Master Hsuan to Malaysia. And maybe because we went to so many small towns on different trips to Malaysia. We went to little towns in Malaysia. And Mabor, Muar, and Maju Bashat, and Terengganu. Terengganu's not so small, but we went to Sabah, Sarawak back before it became rich and before they started cutting all the trees and finding the oil. Terengganu before the oil. It was a little town. And we went to Coast and Klang, all these little places. And Shifu would get right with the people. And of course, they would hear that Master Hsuan was here. And many of them, of course, Shifu had the reputation of being someone who could heal disease. And so often we would come into a town and there would be a line of people waiting for Master Hsuan to get out of the car. And as soon as he did, they would surround him and pull at his robe, tug at him, you know. Sometimes they would bring people in wheelchairs, you know, wheel the wheelchairs up. One time they wheeled up a gurney, a hospital bed, you know, someone who was last breath. And Shifu sometimes would be, you know, very patient. Just, okay. Sometimes he would just scold him. He would say, "Why are you here?" And he would say, "Do you know who I am?" "Yeah, you're the healer. You're the medicine man. You're the witch doctor." You know. And Shifu would just, you know, he said, "I'm a Dharma master. I'm a Buddhist monk." He said, "How many of you have come for the Dharma?" "What's the Dharma?" "None. They all came to get healed." You know. And so Shifu would, without fail, without exception, he would always find a way to help these people. But he would do it in funny ways. One time in Mabor, there was 35 people, 40 people, all with deformed limbs, or deaf, or blind, or obviously, you know, developmentally retarded, or, you know, challenged, and just every kind of the medicine couldn't help in any way. And they would all get there, and then Shifu would be exhausted from having taught so many people. And he would say, "Okay, you all line up there," you know. And the monks and nuns are watching Shifu because he's really tired, you know. Shifu would sit there, we'd be on all sides, and he would, you know, say, "Okay," he would say, "I want you all to bow to the Buddhas." And he wouldn't say it that way. He'd say it very kindly. I shouldn't imitate him. He would say, "I want you all to bow to the Buddhas." Not, "I want you all to bow." No. "I want you all to bow to the Buddhas." And they would go, "Bow, what for?" You know, okay. Do the Chinese bow, you know. Like that. Not respectfully, just kind of forcing. Kind of like that. She would say, "Okay." You say, "How, 你们有一分诚心," because you have a little bit of sincerity. He said, I'll help you. And he would take his guaizhang, his cane, and he would go like this. 好了,我都加持过了,我都加持你们. Okay, I've now blessed you all. People would go, "What? 骗人?" You know. And Shifu would, you know, he would say, 能好了就会好了,不会好慢慢来. He would say, if you can get better, you'll get better. If you're incurable, then bit by bit, you know. So, and then these people, you know, some people would see that and they would go, you know, "Thank you so much." Other people would just, "You cheater, you cheat people. We came all the way out here and you wouldn't help us," you know. And Shifu was a Dharma master. He's not a witch doctor. He's not a medicine man. And then, you know, I'll never forget that night. The monks were in this is a little tiny temple in Muar. And so we went upstairs to the second floor, and where the monks were staying, and 4 monks were in one room, and Shifu was in the next room. And we came out in the morning, and Shifu said, we were out, the monks were out there after the sun was rising, and Zao Ke was over. We're outside, and the door opened, and Shifu came out. And it was pretty rare that he would come out in the morning. And he would say, what did you see yesterday? And we would say, well, Shifu, we saw lots of people, lots of afflictions. He would say, did you see their light? Shifu, what light? 他们的光明呢，多数啊就黑暗，就黑的，有的就黄的，and he said mostly it was black, some was brown, some was yellow. 哦，真的，意思你们都不知道啊，我一个晚上都没睡啊。You don't know, he said, I didn't sleep all night. He said, 你们以为我拿拐杖就现在把他们的头就是聊聊而已啊，我真的治他们的病。可是呢，我不是假的，我真的治他们的病。He said, you see me just wave my cane around in the air, you think I'm just playing around, he said, I am actually curing every one of them. 他说，那个业障深重，那种病痛是他们应该受的，你都不知道他们过去做了多少坏事，就他们应该受的，就因为我忍不住看他们痛的那样子，所以呢，我就接受他们的业障。我一个晚上，他们的业障就来跟我斗，我都不能睡。昨天晚上，我就跟他们的业障在那斗争。哼，你们以为就这么容易做出家人呢？You know, Shifu said, you saw me just wave my cane around. He said, they should be sick. If you could see what these people have done in the past lives, the retribution that they're suffering right now is what they should be receiving. They should get worse than that, he said. But because I can't stand to see them suffering, so I take on their karma for them, he said. So he said, because I'm willing to do that, their karmic obstacles come and fight with me all night. Because they say, you took away, but they owe me that leg, they owe me that eye, they owe me that wisdom. And so I had to fight with them all night long to pacify them. I didn't sleep a wink. You think it's so easy to be a monk, he said? And we're going, we don't know, sure, we had no idea. So that's, and I remember, the reason I'm telling you that story is he said, did you see their color? This is the Yen Hui Di. So what's going on? I don't have an idea. No idea what's going on. This is not my realm. But when Shifu gives you a clue, you think, there's a lot going on here. What is going on? You know, so that's the difference between a sage and someone who is still on the path towards becoming, which is us. We're on the path that way. So when you contemplate the realm of living beings, 观察众生界, what do you see? Well, different eyes see different things, right? If you see the realm of living beings, there are many, 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 many living beings. Science gives us a look at the tiny living beings that live in our bloodstream. The incredible number of living beings that live in a drop of water. The microscopic living beings that we would not see without Shen Wei Jing, without microscope. Also, somebody said the new Mars rover, Curiosity, right? There's a new spacecraft on Mars now. It was successful. It got there. And it's running around up there. And NASA last week was going to make a big announcement, and then they canceled it. Anybody follow that one? Anybody see that? There was the news that NASA had some big, something about, had to do with water on Mars. And then they didn't, everybody's going, what happened? What happened? Why'd they pull the plug on that? So maybe nothing, but they are looking for some proof that there is intelligent life on Mars, or had been, some sort of chance for living beings on Mars. So if with a telescope, 望远镜, we can see far away. So here's a question. When the Bodhisattva, when we who follow the Bodhisattva say, 众生无边誓愿度, living beings are numberless, I vow to save them all. Even though they're numberless, I'm going to save them all. Who are we talking about? Who is that? Who are the living beings we're going to save if we're inspired by the Bodhisattva? When I first started, I thought it meant people. My mom, people I didn't like. Do I have to save him? 包括他包括在内吗？他不值得度，不想度他。I don't want to save him, her. So that was my original understanding. And then I started calculating, what about mosquitoes? What about mosquitoes that give malaria? What about dengue fever mosquitoes? So that's the way I was thinking. And I think maybe ultimately that's true, that you can save, quote, save other living beings. But the question that comes to mind is, how do you interpret the word du? What does it mean to save? When are you saved? Is that when you become a Buddha? You're finally saved? It's a long time, What does it mean to save somebody? And so I started to think about that a lot. That's the word, isn't it? Living beings are numberless. Even so, I vow to du. 众生无边誓愿度. So, how do you make sense of the word du, to save living beings? The way I think about it now is that if you are really wise and compassionate, you can bring beings closer to being good people. You can make them Buddhists. They take refuge. Is that when they're saved? You can do that. Like Shifu impressed, us. Here's an example. Shifu's vow. Shifu's vow to eat 1 meal a day. Right? Our teacher said, I will eat 1 meal a day. The conditions for his eating 1 meal a day was he saw that his fellow Chinese countrymen did not have enough to eat in the Manchurian winter. And so he vowed to eat less in order to leave more food on the earth for others. Very unselfish. And he really did it. So he's willing to endure hunger part of the day so that food will be there for living beings to eat. That's impressive. That's very impressive. Selfless. And similar things, many, many similar things. So, is that when they're crossed over? The way I think about it now is, it's talking about, we say, 自性众生, living beings of my own inherent nature. What does that mean? Well, it means my own suffering and affliction. For example, if I have a bad temper, 脾气很坏, right? If I have a bad temper, if I can cultivate patience so that my bad temper is slower to rise, it takes more to make me angry than before, that's 度众生. That's taking across, saving, rescuing a living being from what? From affliction. Because getting angry doesn't help. Getting angry causes more wuming, ignorance, not less. If I can practice ren, patience, then that living being is not afflicted. That's 度一个众生. That's one living being crossed over. If I am frightened a lot, if I have a lot of fear, social anxiety, so that I don't like to meet people, I'm always like really shy, I'm kind of, when people come around, I freeze up, and I tense, my muscles tense. Why? Anxiety, fear, that's suffering living being. That's an emotion. Fear, 恐怖, is an emotion. So if I can make it so that when I see people, I look at them and think, there's a future Buddha there. That person might be the one who's going to take me across. I shouldn't be afraid. Or we think, oh, here's somebody I can help. Here's somebody I can give to. Somebody I might make a friend of. And when you have that thought, no tension, no fear, you relax, right? you have du, you crossed over the fear. So, when I think about it this way, it's like, oh, this is talking about the living beings inside me. And du, to cross over, means you take them from 烦恼 to 没有烦恼. So they're okay. They're normal, balanced, 中道. So the ultimate point of du is back to balance. So they're not troubled, they're not worried, they're not angry, they're not greedy, angry, stupid, proud, doubtful. The 5 basic afflictions. 贪嗔痴慢疑. If they don't have those, then it's like, oh, normal. That's du. One by one by one. To the place where your nature has no affliction. You've heard that story about Shifu, where people say, remember, not everybody, some people would be really bold and they would ask Shifu, are you enlightened? Americans used to do that a lot. You know. Are you enlightened, Shifu? And depending on who was doing the asking, Shifu would answer in different ways. Sometimes he would, why are you asking that? And sometimes he would answer very straight, depending on who was asking. And I'll never forget when he said, you know, I would say, I'm just like you. I'm no different than any of you. The only thing that's different is I don't have any afflictions. 我跟你们一样的，就是没有烦恼，就是那个。And it sounded so simple, so plain, kind of like vanilla ice cream, no flavor, you know, kind of like plain bread. But if you think about it, that's huge. No afflictions. Can't get him angry. Can't frighten him. Sure was fearless, utterly fearless. Not afraid of dying, not afraid. He said, the only thing I'm afraid of is that I won't be true. You know. So no afflictions. Like, that's huge. That's really huge. So, 我就跟你们一样的，就没有烦恼，不同就是那个。Like, wow. So, are you enlightened? No, I just don't have any affliction. Otherwise, I'm the same. So, the realm of living beings. We are living beings because we have affliction. And if we can transform those afflictions, then our nature is completely blazing wisdom. So, the bodhisattva on the 4th ground is contemplating. Our verb here, we said it 10 times, is what? Guancha. Guancha means to look, but you look not just with your eyes. Right? We are contemplating what? Contemplating means we're seeing. If you look at guan, the word guan has the seeing radical on the right-hand side. That word that repeats 10 times. Guan. It's an eye on legs. I like that. Your eye runs out. Your eye is on legs there. You are looking at, but you're looking with your wisdom. It's an internal seeing. You're seeing slowly. If you look, okay, I'm looking at these pretty red and black and white flowers. Anybody know what these are? These have a name. Can we see it? What are they? Okay. What are they in Chinese? Anybody know? 什么花? 知道不知道? I don't recognize. So when you look at them, you go, okay. And the seeing happens really fast, right? Guancha is slow looking. You contemplate. You look and look again. And you're gazing and reflecting as you look. Guancha. So he is doing that. The bodhisattva is slowly looking. He's savoring the look at 10 realms. Guancha is also here to inspect. So he's inspecting, slowly looking at it. Guancha, 什么什么界. Okay, what are 界? There are 10 realms altogether, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 realms. And a realm is a space with a boundary. We, when we in the Sangha, in the Buddhist Sangha, we 结界. when we want to do something formal within the Dharma, we want to ordain monks and nuns, we jie jie. You create a boundary called a sima, S-I-M-A. You create a boundary, a special area, and you do a ceremony so that it's called, you tie up, you create a boundary. The thing about the boundary is kind of like a fence. You put a fence around it, and bad energy cannot come in, and the things inside it are very contained, very controlled, orderly, proper, safe. At one point, Shifu told us that at CTTB, we should recite the Lengyan Zhou Xin 108 times every night in order to make secure everything inside the boundary of wherever our minds can contain. So every night at CTTB, like that, 108 times, and wherever the mind's area reaches, that jia, that boundary is safe. Everything inside that boundary is saved by the power of the mantra and the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas that support that mantra. So that's a jia, a realm. Fa jie, right, is number 2. It is the fa jie. Zhongsheng jie would be, on one hand, everywhere there is a living being, from the tiniest being born of wombs, eggs, moisture, and transformation, the 4 kinds of birth. The realm of Dharma, fa jie, one way to translate that is the universe. What is the universe? Well, goodness, that's a very big word. Could it be galaxies? Is it space? Like outer space? It's hard to define what a universe is. That's a kind of a one-word fits all. We think Star Trek, da-dee, da-dee-dee-dee-dee, boldly go where no Buddhists have gone before, or no TV producers have gone before, Star Trek. Is that the universe? Well, every time we think we get to the edge of it, it's further. It goes further. We invent a bigger telescope, and suddenly the universe grows. Did it grow? No, we just see further. So, I think universe is not a good translation for fa jie, Dharma realm, Dharma dhatu. It's the place where Dharma's realm, where Dharma's rule, the place where we find Dharma. Where is that? Well, you would say everywhere. Is there any place where principles do not apply? One way to think about it is Dharma realm is not a measurement from me out. It's a measurement from me in. Think about that. So could the Dharma realm be measured inside? That is to say, similar to the realm of the mind. Maybe. So how do you contemplate the Dharma realm? Well, for one thing, you sit still. Try to calm the movement. Don't move. How do you guancha fa jie? Well, start like this, Just sit still. Get your mind, get your head here so it's not cutting off circulation, or, how do you contemplate? Sit still. And you bring your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind to stillness, and you sit still. But is that the way you guancha? Well, that may be the beginning. What kind of seeing do you do when you're sitting still? Good question. You could say, how are you meditating? What method are you using to meditate? Are you doing the bujing guan, the contemplation of impurity? Are you doing the yin yuan guan, cibei guan? What kind of guan, what kind of formal contemplation are you using? Maybe you're not using that. Maybe you are doing 那个止观 vipassana. Vipassana is a guan. You're contemplating thoughts rising. Now we're getting somewhere. If you are doing 那个这个shumato, 或者 vipassana, that's a guan, the contemplation of vipassana, watching thoughts rising, dwelling, decaying, falling, gone. Another thought rises up. Anger is present. Anger is decaying. Anger is gone. Anger returns. Watching your thoughts one by one. You contemplate. You see that happen, and when it's not there, the seeing is still, just like a mirror. Something comes up, there it is. Something goes. The observer is still. That's one way to contemplate. Now, my question, if we are contemplating the Fa Jie, the Dharma realm, where does it go? How big is the Fa Jie? Well, question, is the realm of Dharma still there when words and thoughts no longer arise? Interesting idea. The Chan masters will tell you that you can contemplate to a place where yan yu dao duan, xin xing chu mian, where the path of words and language stop and the mind no longer thinks. Does the Fa Jie, does the Dharma realm end there because you can't name it or think about it? I think not. I think that's where the Dharma realm continues into principles of yu, se, wu se. What about the realm of samadhi, sanmei? They say that the realm of samadhi opens past desire. If we have desire thoughts in our minds, we will not enter Chu Chan. Right? Chu Chan, Ar Chan, San Chan, Si Chan, the dhyanas, the 4 states of dhyana, those begin once desire ends. Where is in the Chan, Si Chan Tian is where? That's the form realm. Like a Si Jie, right? The devas in the form realm, they are always in the Chan Ding. We, in our human bodies, if we meditate really well, can get to the dhyanas. Shifu talks about that a lot. That almost anyone can. Ru Chan, Chu Chan, Ar Chan, San Chan. The Buddha he got enlightened from the 3rd dhyana. That is above the desire realm. So as long as we are sitting here and our nose is still smelling for lunch, spaghetti today. I hope they don't make it too spicy. Okay, no dhyana for you. Okay, you come right back to your nose, to the world, you know. If you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, he's snoring again. Oh, he's snoring. Somebody wake him up. Out of dhyana. No dhyana for you. Your ears entered, right? So if you love or you hate, the 6 senses kick in, ni chu ding. You're no longer in dhyana. The desire realm is right there. As soon as you can make all the 6 sense organs very calm and quiet, so that your thoughts are very easy and mellow, it's possible to enter dhyana. How interesting. Wow, you can enter the dhyanas. So, if you get into the 3rd and 4th dhyana, your thinking is very subtle, very fine. Is that still the Dharma realm? What dharmas are there? Well, wisdom, samadhi, sanmei. What is the realm of the langyan, sanmei? What is the realm of the pilu jana, zangshen, sanmei? Wow, those are still in the Dharma realm, but there's no thinking. There's no words. So, where is the Dharma realm? When we go inside to look, my answer is, I don't know, but that's where you look. That's where you find the map. And there is, even beyond thinking and words, this Dharma realm continues. Where do you find it? Right here. Sutras. The sutras map the Dharma realm. Okay? The sutras are the Buddha's exploration of the Xin Jie, Fa Jie, Zhong Sheng Jie, right? So that's one of the values of reading the sutras, is we go beyond knowledge, consciousness, thought, language, but that realm is beautifully mapped. It's crystal clear. It's pure. It's perfect. And the sutras open to us. But most of us are still just bumping around here in desire, so we never get there. One of these monks, we hope, or one of the nuns here, might purify body and mind and enter the dhyanas and say, indeed, the Dharma realm is just the way the sutras say. Very pure, very precise. It's just like the freeway. It's so clear. You want to get off at Gilman Street, you take the Gilman exit. You want to get off at the Sharangama Samadhi, you take this exit. We don't know because most of us don't do the hard work. But if it's there waiting, and these are the roadmaps to the Dharma realm, is in the Buddha Sutras. I really believe that's true. So maybe in the future, huh? Yes, Gina. Okay, Jin Yongshi's question, could we interpret this as plural, contemplating the 10 Dharma realms? I think absolutely. That's one of the things that Shifu said regularly was, any way that you explain it, as long as there's principle, that's a good way to explain it. 都可以，这都可以讲，这个是十法界, the 10 Dharma realms. People know what they are? The 6 paths of mortality, of rebirth, including the heavens, and then the 4 paths of sages beyond birth and death. 10 Dharma realms. Yeah, I definitely think so. So if you want to explain it that way, that would be totally right. Okay, what else? 观察世界, the realm of shi, worlds. And they are many, 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 many. One of the qualities of the Avatamsaka is it talks about worlds within worlds. We don't have to go into that realm to appreciate how many worlds are happening all at once. On the pilgrimage that I took, the Sanbui Bai pilgrimage, I'm going to interrupt myself for 1 second. Jerry, do we possibly have an empty SD card? This is soon to be filled. Do we have an empty anywhere? We want to replace this when it's empty. Our tape recorder here is about to be filled up, and if we could throw an SD card in there, if anybody's got a spare. So, back to the story. On the 3 Steps, 1 Bow pilgrimage, one day in the late autumn, early winter, it was raining just like today. Here in Northern California, it's been raining since it started on Thursday or Friday? I guess it started on Friday. Wednesday it started raining. It's been raining regularly. It's supposed to rain all the way through to tomorrow. And this is a good thing because we need water. It was raining, raining, raining. And the monks were out bowing in the rain as we bowed. And it was pretty miserable because the rain gets everywhere. It goes down your collar and it's in your boots. And you just live in the water. You just you become amphibious. No choice. And at that section, the road, this was in Central California, and the road was narrow, and we had to bow on this little meridian. And because it had been raining, the things were really green. And I remember the road was narrow, and we had to count. So we count on our beads. We had to walk and count. 1, 2, 3, bead. 1, 2, 3, bead. 1, 2, 3, bead. 1, 2, 3. And then get to the wide place, the meridian, and stop there and bow in place. Okay. So we're bowing in place there, and then for about an hour, because we have, maybe 200 bows to do in one place. We're bowing and counting and bowing and counting and bowing. And one bow, I bowed down, and when I got down to the ground, I opened my eyes down there, and there was the plantain. Do people know plantain? It's kind of like bananas, but it's not, no bananas. It's a big leaf, green plant. They plant them on meridians, big leaf. And I bowed down, and I looked, and the leaf was like this, and we always see the top, but I was down below, and I could see under the leaf, and there was a big green bug, upside down, using the leaf as an umbrella. And I bowed down, and he looked at me. And I looked at him. I'm down there like this, and he's above me. And he's very surprised, and he's hanging upside down. He's, opens his eyes and looks at me, and I'm looking at him. And I'm here in his world, I'm the guest. And he's like what are you doing here? And he looked, I had to think, he was probably thinking, look at this stupid human out in the rain. Why doesn't he get under the shelter? Why doesn't he stay dry? Because he had his umbrella, in his house there. And just, I could see the personality of the bug immediately as he was looking at me and I was looking at him. And I realized, wow, we are in the insect's world all the time and never know it. You just never know it. Why? Who takes the time to get down at shoe top level? We never do. We're just so crude. We stomp all over. We think it's a weed and we stomp on it. It's a bug, we stomp on it. But down there, he was in order, right? He was avoiding the rain, waiting for it to stop, upside down on the underside of the leaf. And my gosh, there are worlds within worlds. We just were so crude, we never think about that. But that bug was in his world, and I was just visiting. So when I came back up, I suddenly realized I couldn't just stomp anywhere. I had to be careful where I walked. So it's the same with the deer at CTDB. Last week, I came in on Sunday afternoon about, I guess it was about 4, and as you come in the gate, there's a deer trail right there by the gate, and there were 7 deer. I saw 1, then I saw 2, then I saw 3, then I saw 6, then I saw 7, and the buck was there, the young buck with his horns, and the 7 deer were females, does, and they just kept more and more deer kept coming out as I was looking. When does hunting season end? Do we know? Hunting season, Haizaima. Did we hear? Nobody's paying attention. Yeah, to hunting season. Why would we know? I think during hunting season, the deer population increases at CTDB because they know we don't kill them, so they come down. So anyway, here were all these deer, and I realized the same thing that I realized in Australia. We have a place in Gold Coast. Gold Coast is in southeast Queensland, and we're on the edge of a forest. The forest is called Mudjiraba forest, an old Aboriginal word, Mudjiraba. And in our property in Mudjiraba, we have wallabies, and the wallabies are small kangaroos. And you come face to face with these wallabies that live there. There's a couple, and they now, Sam, who just emailed me the hufa there, says the babies are out. They've got the babies with them. So. When I saw the wallabies at Gold Coast and I saw the deer at CTDB, I had the very same reflection, which was what? This is their space. The wallabies, when you see them, give you the impression that they have been there for a very long time. And the humans are relatively new. How long have the deer been walking on that trail at CTDB? Ask the Native Americans. They show them respect as if they are the owners. They're the large-bodied mammals who have been there forever. The humans come and go. How long have those deer been walking on that very same trail? That trail has been here before the hospital, before the pomos came. Who knows how long, right? And we look at them and we say, huh, a deer, huh. The deer look at the humans and go, huh, the Buddhists. Hey, monk, you enter samadhi yet? Hey, monk, how's your wisdom? Huh, they're young. Those monks are young. Those Buddhists are young. So, how long have the deer been there? A very long time. Shi, Jie, the realm of worlds. What is the realm of the deer? Do they know anything? Of course they do. They have incredible knowledge. Last week we watched this amazing video. We have to show this at CTDB. Sometime we'll get a chance to show. It's called My Life as a Wild Turkey. It's very funny. There is a naturalist in Florida who makes as his study the, what's the word again? It's not bonding. What does he call it? Imprinting. the imprinting that young animals do with their mothers. This is a very funny idea. So this is part of the Shi Jie, right? What does he do? This is a naturalist. He lives out in the wild with animals, and he's done it with 8 or 9 species. He waits for, in this case, somebody gave him 16 wild turkey eggs, 火鸡, right? Wild turkey, little eggs like this. And the mother turkey, before the eggs are hatched, the mother turkey makes noises. As she's sitting on the nest, she's going, that's a pretty good turkey sound, you know. And the little turkeys inside the eggs are going inside the egg, like that. And so the eggs hatch, and he's right there. The egg hatches, and the guy looks right here. And the first pair of eyes that the turkey sees, they imprint, this is my mother. If you're making the sound and you show the eyes. So the little turkeys, just out of the egg, they're just little, they go right for the eyes. And the camera, this is a PBS, public broadcasting. The man picks up the turkey, and the turkey goes right for his face and goes to sleep. Home. Like that. 16 turkeys. He's the mother to 16 turkeys. It's amazing, and it's an hour long, and it shows him for 1.5 years raising 16 baby turkeys. It's quite wonderful, and you wonder how they got the images, the photos, because the photos are superb. He lives in the northern Florida, where it's very wild. The deer are everywhere. His neighbors are deer, snakes, lizards, hawks, eagles, bears, and 16 wild turkeys. And he raises them up, and they have personalities. There's one that likes affection, called Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea is always in his lap. As soon as he sits down, Sweet Pea hops up in his lap. And there's a male called Turkey Boy, and Turkey Boy is very curious and inquisitive. And they grow up and go off and roost and make nests. Turkey Boy comes back to be his companion. So it's a wonderful story, and worth watching. Heng Liang Shi was here watching, and Heng Jiao Shi and Heng Yin Shi. Heng Liang Shi said, "He was probably a turkey in his last life," she said. I don't know, maybe. Very funny. So, anyway, the realm of worlds. What's the world of a turkey? Well, when you watch this movie that comes alive, turkeys are very intelligent. They have knowledge. They, like the deer, like the wallabies, have been on the land where she says, the naturalist says, millions and millions of years. Turkeys are an old species. They're not new. They have been there for millions of years. And he watches the turkeys, and he enters their world. They know all the plants immediately. They go out, they know the snakes. He found 30 turkey words, and he could say them. He had a vocabulary. He could speak turkey, talk turkey after a while. Really? And he knows the name for rattlesnake, because the turkeys see a rattlesnake and they go like that. And they see a green snake and they go so he goes and they whistle and they purr and they have a, when they see a hawk, they make a certain sound, and the sound is hawk is present. They're not afraid of hawks, they're too big, but they alert everybody there's a hawk. And it's a like that. So amazing movie. So the realm of these animals, the worlds of these animals is very intelligent. And people think turkeys are dumb. They are not dumb at all. Turkeys know so much. Which snake is poisonous, which snake is harmless, which plant they can eat, which plant they can't eat. They all 16 of them go around, they study. Very, very interesting movie. So there's so much to learn. You know, we humans think we're the center of everything, and in fact, in the realm of worlds, these worlds overlap. You know. So what else? It's 虚空界, 观察虚空界. He looks at the realm of space, and he realizes what? He realizes that everything exists in space, including us. And we say me, right? We go me, or in Chinese we say me, in America we say me. What is me? If you look at each individual cell, the cells, the atoms, are mostly empty. There's science tells us there are protons, neutrons, electrons, and a nucleus for every atom. You have a nucleus and you have these buzzing electrical things, and H2O, which is hydrogen 2, oxygen 1, right? H2O. And, okay, this is cutting out. So sometimes the electrons bond tighter, sometimes they're loose, they're volatile electrons. And mostly it's space. So space is in us. We take this as solid, but it's not. It's not at all. It's very active and volatile. So the Buddha looked at empty space and said, this is a wu wei fa. This is a dharma that is unconditioned. No conditions come together to make the realm of space. It doesn't come from anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. There is only one other dharma that is beyond conditions, which is what? There are two wu wei fa. What is the other one? Who knows? 有两种无为法. What is it? Okay. What is it there? Alan is ready to tell us. Nirvana. Correct. Two unconditioned dharmas. Empty space and nirvana. Nirvana does not come from anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. So what does that mean when you zhengde nibbana, when you realize nirvana? You have taken your body out of birth and death. It doesn't come anywhere, it doesn't go anywhere. So how interesting. So everything else exists inside of space, and space is inside of us. When you look at it that way, who are we? And the answer would be mostly our karma. We are the result of what we have done with body, mouth, and mind. If you stop the doing, we can stop coming and going, right? But because it's so hard to not do anything, we have to do things. We have to move. So we create qi huo zao ye shou guo bao. We get deluded, we act, and we get the retribution. And we exist. So meditation, precepts, concentration, and wisdom is the Buddha's way of going back to that place before we do anything, so that we in empty space can really finally become one, right? How interesting to think that this body is just a result of things I've done. A female body is a result of things maybe I have done in the past. Currently, it's a male body, right? The early monks at Gold Mountain Monastery used to beat up on the women. It was terrible. The early monks, the first bunch of monks, they were so hard on the nuns. Ask Heng, she'll tell you. Oh my goodness, the early monks were really mean. They would take every opportunity to chifu, to bully the nuns. You think they were very compassionate? Not so much. And Shifu finally, he would just say, 你们呢? He would say, don't be so arrogant. Don't assume that you have always been men and these women are beneath you. He said, you know why women become women? It's because they have not been so good at the precepts, so their body has outflows. But you know, most of the women I know cultivate harder than the men. Who's going to be the man in the future? And these monks would go, well, not me. I'm not going to be the woman. So it's like all the bodies. You want to be a deva? Cultivate. 风护持怎么说？护持无戒，风行十善. You want to be a deva? Hold the 5 precepts, cultivate 10 good deeds. Your body will be so pure, you can live in a realm of complete ease and comfort. 自在, 大自在, 大自在天 Maheshvara. If you can enter samadhi, you can be a Brahma god, right? Our bodies come from what we do in empty space. Who tells me I'm supposed to be like this now? The answer is my habits. No other answer. Only my habits bring me back to this body and these thoughts. We think these ways because why? We think these ways. We're in the habit of it. Habit is very strong. Habits are hard to break. They push us along. So, how important is it to find good dharma friends? Really, really important. So you look at our shamis, and I remember a time before there were no shamis at CTDB. Maybe one or two. Now there are 12 shamis at CTDB. And around them are the laymen and the trainees. Oh, this is wonderful. Boom. Good dharma friends, helping each other out. How important is that? To change our habits. We might want to go wrong, but we know there'll be 9 eyes watching us, nine pairs of eyes watching us. We don't. We go right. Right? We want to be lazy. We want to sleep again. No, we got to get up. Go out because they're waiting for me. It's my job to get up. So, how wonderful in making good dharma friends. Connie? What if we have friends who have bad habits? What's your answer to that question? What if we want to change but? What if they have the potential to be good? Then I would say they're like most of us. Unrealized goodness. The potential to be good, but not quite there yet. You know, that's most of us. So, what do we mostly do? People, and I'm quoting Shifu in this, we mostly have good intentions and then backslide. Mostly. We faxin and then tuixin. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Mostly. That's mostly it. So, now, that being said, how many good friends does it take to get us to do good? Sometimes just even seeing someone. They say when you see the Buddha, if you actually see the Buddha, Ananda, the Buddha's cousin, he saw the Buddha and immediately decided he wanted to be like him. So it doesn't take a lot of good friends. It just takes one good friend. Here's another way, Connie, to answer your question. What about if you're the good friend? How many people in a family does it take to go good to change the whole family? To turn good? Sometimes just one. Some of you know that your family are vegetarians because of you. Some of us, because we left home, our mothers left home. Right? Some of us, because we decided not to fight the way we used to, like dogs and cats, we completely changed our family's experience. Right? Doesn't take a lot. And we're in the habit of thinking of ourselves as being influenced, right? What if we're the one who influences? And what does it mean? It doesn't mean, I'm a good model, I'm a role model, you should all be like me. Get lost, phony, you know. No, it just means you go and do it with your own heart, and people feel it. The reason being, why? We are all on each other's radar. It's really hard to fool each other, right? We're all on each other's radar screen. We pretty much know what the person next to us is thinking, especially the ones we're related to. And often that is not so good, but sometimes it can be really, really good. And if we can use that mutual radar to go towards the good, then that's what we're supposed to be doing. Does that mean we're born good? We never have bad thoughts? No, of course not. Lots of bad thoughts, but we don't follow the bad thoughts. Bad thoughts rise up and we go, no, last time I did that, I really regretted it. I'm going to change. That's cultivation. Cultivation doesn't mean our mind is pure. Whose mind is pure? 人非圣贤,孰能无过? People are not sages. Who is free of them? But it's what do you do? How do you react to the thought that shows your cultivation? The thought rises up and you go, okay, Ami Tofu. There's a living being to do, right? I want to do that zhongsheng. I want to take that living being across. So you just mostly be patient. That's why patience is the number one dharma door. You just are patient when that thought rises. You wait it out. You don't move. Samadhi, we say, concentration, what does it mean? It means you can wait. You can not move. Then, what does it do? It rises. Cheng, zhu, huai. Gone. If we can wait those thoughts out, they go through cheng, zhu, huai. Gone. Thoughts are impermanent. Xin, wu, chang. Guan, xin, wu, chang. We contemplate how thoughts do not last. And the only thing that wants you to move and go bad is a thought. It's just over. Be patient, you wait, it's gone. Ah. Then another one rises, and bit by bit, those thoughts rise less. So when you boil it down, cultivation comes down to learning to be really patient in the midst of temptation to go wrong with your bad thoughts. So if we are good friends, then we invisibly, silently can help our whole family and everybody who sees us, even invisibly. How is this true? Transference of merit. Use your mind like a broadcast tower. Oh, goodness out there. It's really powerful, even though there's no sign that you're influencing it. Okay. Guancha Shijie, contemplating the realm of consciousness. Ooh. That's the radar screen right there. Consciousness is like a radar screen. When somebody is really angry, you don't have to look, you know it. You can almost smell the gunpowder smell. Why? Because our consciousness is like a field, like a radar scope. Just bleep, bleep, bleep. That goes up and you see a little white dot, bleep, like that. Oh, enemy plane coming in, bleep, there it is. Or a ship. The submarine has sonar, oh, here comes a ship. Because our consciousness is out there. We're on each other's wavelength. Just like consciousness, the realm of consciousness. The Bodhisattva on the fourth ground, Guancha Shi Jie, he contemplates consciousness. What is it? We have the consciousness of the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. Di Liu Yi Shi, the sixth mind consciousness. The Di Qi Mona Shi, Di Ba Ulaya Shi, Hanzang Shi. Those are the 8 consciousnesses that right now are functioning right this minute for all of us. Right? We're out there using these consciousnesses, and that is, if you say, what is the soul? We don't say soul in Buddhism per se. We say consciousness. That's what we're working with right now that brings us back into our bodies, whatever our bodies are. Okay, 3 more. Yu jie, se jie, wu se jie. Desire, form, and formlessness. Those are the levels of worlds. There are countless worlds, world systems, and the Bodhisattva is looking at them. The 6 paths of rebirth in the desire realm, the 28 paths of reincarnation in the form realm of the gods, and the 4 realms of gods in the formless realm. He looks at all those. 2 more, the last 2. Look at this, long, huh? Guang, xin, xin, jie, jie. Da, xin, xin, jie, jie. What are those? Okay, let's unpack that. And I'm going to switch our card right now. Full card. Thank you. It's nice that it beeps at you. Okay. Loading up. Doing all the magic that it does. We have 99 hours here. Good. All right. Are we moving? Yes. It is not moving. Why not? Stop. Pause. Record. Okay. The ticker is not ticking. Why not? Okay. So, what we'll do, it's not counting down. Funny. Was that a clean card? That was an empty one? Was it a photo card? Yeah. Okay, let's try this guy. It's been erased anyway. Maybe it doesn't take 32. That might be too big for it.
I think because maybe it's too big, so
Yeah.
come down but still almost 99.
Okay. Let's see here. All right, record. Okay, we're in business. So these last two, you notice they're the same except for one word, two words. One word, guang and da. Guang is extensive, expansive, kind of think of area. Da is big, almost like cubically. It's just big. Guang, you think of as the guang in measure. Da is, I always think of it as just, it's kind of coming in the third dimension. How are they different? We are working on that in our Avatamsaka translation group, because it appears a lot. Guang da, we say often. So what is that? It means very big. Xin, let's see, I'm sorry. Guancha, guang, xin, an expansive mind that can hold a lot, and a da xin that can contain a lot. Xin, jie, the realm of faith and understanding, where you, first of all, believe that it's true, meaning you're willing to understand it, and then the next realm is that you do understand it because you worked with it. You held it in your mind until it opened. So, xin and jie are two stages of approaching text. One is you hold it in your mind until you think, I wonder if that's really true about the only thing that holds me in empty space is my karma, my behavior. Well, let me think about that for a while. Because you believe it and you think about it, you experience it. You jie, you understand it. It opens to you. So those are, the Bodhisattva is contemplating those realms. Why? He's only on the 4th ground. He's got 6 more to go after this one. So he's got 7 grounds to travel. And he's not home yet. He's still working on it. He will get there soon. So this is how he contemplates. And what are these? These are 10 methods for understanding the Dharma. Ming, that's your fa, Ming, Man. 10 kinds of Dharma understanding doors, methods, techniques. So he looks at these. He looks at what? Living beings, the Dharma, to teach living beings, worlds where living beings live, from bugs to universes, empty space that holds us all, consciousness like a radar that's connecting us all, desire, form, and formlessness where we're reborn in the 6 paths, and then outside in the realm of form and formlessness, and then the ability to believe it and to explain it, to understand it. And now he's ready to enter the 4th ground. Okay. Questions? Ideas? Anything sparked? Feda, you look pensive. Do you have a question there? Not? Okay. Anybody got an idea here? Way to expand this, or something that occurred to you? Yes, Yuhan. Okay, so Yuan's question is there a connection here with that Shastra called Baifa Ming Menlun, the door to understanding the 100 Dharmas? I think it's just coincidence. I don't think there's any particular... It's possible the Shastra was named after the Sutra. The Sutra certainly came first. So it's a lun. So a lun means people spoke it, put it together. It's not a jing, it's not spoken by the Buddha. So I think probably it's just, this came first, and then that may have followed it. Okay. Shall we transfer the merit? The way we do that is to use our minds on that consciousness radar, send out good thoughts. However you would like to do it. Our colleague, Fang Jiahua, had emergency appendectomy. His Mang Changyan, right, had a hole in it, his appendix, and he went through some very serious pain, as you do when you have appendix issues, and the doctors removed it very quickly, but he went through a couple days of misery. I'm sure he's going to be fine, but I think he would appreciate any goodness sent his way. He's been a doctor to lots of us. He's helped out many of us with his healing skills, and yet his body too requires maintenance, and he's been working very hard these days and not paying attention to his health. So that's one. Where the world's attention is moving towards the environment more and more, thank goodness. We had, there was an important moment that happened this week. Do people know the name Pat Robertson? Pat Robertson is a Christian evangelist. He has a university, and Pat Robertson, he's the guy who I shouldn't carelessly do this, but when 9/11 happened, he said it was because of the gays, the Jews, the liberals, that 9/11 was the fault of some of the population. It was God punishing us for allowing people like that. And some of the most hateful thoughts in the world have come out of his mouth. Pat Robertson this week said that global warming is real. Big deal. That's a big deal because he has denied that global warming is caused, it's happening. It's just, he said that theory is something that scientists created so they can make money writing research papers. He, this week, announced that it's really serious and we have to start accepting global warming as a fact or else we will lose our children. Meaning the children all know it's true and they're not going to listen to us if we say it's false. Who is he talking to? He's talking to his fellow evangelical Christians who deny that global warming is happening. So you look at Hurricane Sandy and you go, I think there's something new going on here. Anyway, so we can transfer the merit to all of us who in the future will be experiencing the reality of temperatures rising, ocean levels rising, drinking water becoming harder and harder to find, food prices going way, way up. And we should all work the land at Wanpo-Chung very diligently, learn to be farmers because we can grow our own food. We don't have to wait for the truck to come to Safeway and when there isn't any truck because there's no gas to power the truck, so we grow our own food. Anyway, and before then, we need to transfer the merit and benefit beings with our wish to help them out. So let's do that. Your vow is yours to make, however you want to transfer merit. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds away to grace find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and may this boundless light break the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. All right. Can we turn in our songbooks that you have there to page 20. Page 20. Now, if you came to the 50th anniversary of Master Hsuan bringing the Dharma to the West, you saw our novices singing "He Carries Me," and we practiced that tune. And many of us had never sung before like that. That was a new experience, and we only rehearsed, I think, 3 times, all in all. And I think many of the novices had serious doubts about whether that could possibly happen. I didn't leave home to do this. Sing in front of everybody on stage. What do you do? But it worked just fine. And people say that the novices were very impressive. That not impressive meaning sing really well. This means their deportment, what are you laughing at, Lachlan? So their deportment, their self-confidence, their we looked very clean and young, young and masculine, very nice, and yet not hard, not tough. And very nice. And because the shamis, the novices, were able to do it, the nuns had to step up their game. They had to outdo us, right? So the nuns wound up singing very well too, very nicely. But our microphones were difficult at first, but James came through, and in the end we had better sound than the nuns did. So the fidelity, difficult situation, but we've worked it out. Phil and James worked out the microphone. So good experience all around. And if the shamis had said, "No, we don't do this. We don't," just think of all the goodness that would not have happened, because they were willing to try, willing to step up and show up. As a result, people, wow, look at all the monks. Gee, Rulai Si's looking really good these days. So this is the song. Let's do the she. Let's do "She Carries Me," because it was written for Guanyin Pusa. And here we go. She is a bow, she is a light, high on a hill, in the dark of night. She is a way, she is the deep, she is the dark, where the angels sleep. When all is still and peace abides, she carries me to the other side. Here we go. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. Do it again. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. And though I walk through valleys deep and shadows chase me in my sleep, on rocky cliffs I stand alone. I have no name, I have no home. With broken wings I long to fly. She carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. A thousand arms, a thousand eyes, a thousand ears to hear my cries. She is the gate, she is the door. She leads me through and back once more. When day has dawned and death is nigh, she carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. What a nice song that is. Guanyin Bodhisattva.哇，老和尚来了啊！你好，哇，大家好，那么多和尚啊，不是和尚，是沙弥。哦，那么多沙弥啊，哇，很多。Chinese or English? Can you speak English? 不会。哦，我只讲中文，你帮我翻译 ，OK？ 好。So I'm going to help him translate. So. Would you like to say something? Here, it's a mess here. Would you like to say something to all the novices? 你想给他们什么开导啊？要我开导吗？要。好。他们看起来很发心。He says that you've all made a great resolve. That's you look that way. 他们真的发心。那你怎么知道？你怎么不知道呢？
看起来有为意啊，清净啊，能受苦，能吃苦，就是发大心。
He says because you can endure lots of suffering, so that's a great resolve. 那么你呢？
我能吃苦啊，你为什么问我？我应该问他们。
Okay. So, 那你 go ahead， 你帮他们开导。
好，你们发大菩提心，早成佛道。
Is that all？ 就那么多？
那已经够了，还谈多吗
Okay. He's telling me that they should bring forth the great Bodhi resolve and become Buddhas. So,
那他们为什么要发大菩提心，早成佛道呢？我应该问他们，你们为什么要发大菩提心，早成佛道呢？有没有谁答复啊？没人答复。
Anybody？
有没有谁为什么要成佛呢？你们呢？你们如果不答复呢，女众就超过你了哈。show you up。
So，如果问你的话，你为什么要发大菩提心，早成佛道呢？
应该说 ，there's nothing else to do。
Good point.
Yeah.
Good. What else？
众生太苦啊，颠倒无明，业障深重，所以呢，你不发菩提心，早成佛道呢，大家都在那儿，永远都离不开三界，就像火灾，你没有救火通啊，就在火灾里边烧死了，可怜，太苦。所以呢，你们早成佛道呢，你可以为你妈妈讲法，她都可以跟着你出那个火灾。你们听得懂听不懂？你没有翻译，当然他们听不懂。
Okay. So he says you're supposed to leave the triple realm. It's like a burning house. And if you can speak Dharma for your mother, she can leave the burning house with you. How did I do?
不错，你翻译的真恰当。
好 Okay. So, anything more?
要吃8分饱，不要吃太饱了，或者你吃了饱都要散步啊，练习8段锦就好了，可以了。吃8分饱免得很多麻烦。
Did we become as skinny as you if we eat 80%?
差不多了。可是呢，我也没烦恼，因为吃8分饱。
Okay, that's good advice. Telling you, eat 80%.
对了。
Okay, good. Thank you. You want to go back to samadhi?
我讲差不多了，我就回去入定。晚安，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛。南无阿弥陀佛。
There he is. He's going to go back into samadhi. He never leaves he never drops his recitation beads. Well, thank you very much. It's very compassionate. Yep. So, we're waiting for our Shaoshami. We have the Lao Heshang and then the Shaoshami. That will be fun.